As a kid, I enjoyed The Incredibles because of the action, main characters, and yeah, this entire scene with Dash. But as an adult rewatching it, I had a whole different takeaway. I felt for Bob Parr a lot more. I felt the boredom, monotony, and the overall disillusionment that comes with getting older. And I found The Incredibles had a very important message that escaped me all these years. This is a movie about how essential it is to use your superpower. It's also about the havoc that can be wreaked, both personally and publicly, when people don't use their superpower. Let me explain. Bob is a man who's lost his joy for life in the monotony and perpetual gray of his suburban 9-to-5 lifestyle. His office is gray, his clothes are colorless, and the sky seems perpetually cloudy. This guy is pretty large too. He barely fits in frame, sitting at his cubicle, and honestly, how the heck does he even fit in this car? I want to know. This signifies how cramped he feels trying to fit in his new life. And fitting in is a common talking point in this movie. At one point, Helen Parr says,
"Right now, honey, the world just wants us to fit in, and to fit in, we just gotta be like everybody else."
Bob finds this unbearable, and the animators were smart to show this physically on screen, having Bob bursting at the seams in early shots. Helen Parr, Elastigirl, seems to be the only person in the Parr family who's actually enjoying her life in the first act. Dash seems miserable, Violet feels invisible, and Bob's only source of joy is when he moonlights as a vigilante with Frozone once a week. Parr is a fascinating last name that makes me think of par for the course, which, when you look up the meaning on Google, it says, it's an idiom meaning something is normal or expected in a particular situation, often something that is not particularly good, but is typical. I see you, Pixar. So Helen seems like the only happy one. It makes sense for her, since she can bend and fit into any situation, something that Bob finds impossible. The filmmakers did a great job showing the difference in Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl's characters by putting them in similar situations in the middle of the film. Bob breaks into Syndrome's compound by falling onto a tram, hurling that tram at unsuspecting guards, throwing rocks at 500 miles per hour, and lifting an entire moai with brute strength. Helen Parr breaks into Syndrome's compound with grace, elegance, and flexibility. And it was necessary because Bob and Helen represent two opposite worldviews in this movie. Bob is very driven by ideas of right and wrong. He's rigid, sturdy, and unmovable as Mr. Incredible, the world's strongest man. His moral compass is inflexible, and he pays no mind to what society thinks is decent or normal. He only cares about what's actually right and wrong. Elastigirl is flexible and able to take on her new role in society with grace. She's no less obsessed with helping people than Mr. Incredible, but she truly believes she's helping society by fitting in. The value Bob clings to the most is being true to yourself. We actually hear Buddy tell Mr. Incredible this at the start of the movie.
"You always say be true to yourself, but you never say which part of yourself to be true to."
And this is why, when he hears of Dash's exploits in class, he's ecstatic. He loves that Dash is finding ways to be himself in a world that apparently doesn't want him to be. He also loves how Violet starts wearing her hair down, and the color starts returning to his world on screen when he becomes Mr. Incredible again. Which is why I see this as a movie about how necessary it is to be ourselves. It's the difference between living a colorless life of monotony and boredom and a colorful life of adventure and heroism. It is a heroic act to be ourselves, and although we can't physically be superheroes, the closest we're ever going to get to feeling like one is by being ourselves. This point is dramatically demonstrated during the best scene of the movie, when Dash uses his powers to run on water, evade flying saucers, and yes, become Muhammad Ali. You can see how much Dash is enjoying using his own powers without limits. At the start of the movie, Mr. Incredible has his own wedding to attend, but he's visually having so much fun using his powers to fight crime that he keeps saying, "I got time."
Yeah, I've got time. Tour bus robbery. I've still got time.
I still got time!
For me, this is one of the biggest messages of The Incredibles. Every person has a superpower, and we must discover it and wield it justly to enrich our lives and make the world a better place. On the flip side, The Incredibles is also about the cost of not discovering our own superpowers or rejecting them entirely. If you remember, Mr. Incredible literally creates Syndrome by rejecting him.
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
Buddy literally reminds Mr. Incredible of the very value that Bob holds most dear. And Mr. Incredible decides to reject him, a boy with clear talent for invention and technology, which is his superpower. This creates the villain of the film, who haunts Mr. Incredible for the last half of the runtime. Just like using people's superpowers can create good in the world, not using them or even recognizing them can wreak havoc, which is shown when we see Bob wasting away at his office desk, not using his superpowers at all. And this brings us to the point this movie makes about how much we celebrate mediocrity and try to get everyone to fit in. The Incredibles seems to imply that there are real costs to this, both personally and publicly, and we must do everything we can to avoid it. And honestly, we want to see people using their superpowers. The boy on the tricycle tells Mr. Incredible he's waiting for something amazing to happen.
Well, what are you waiting for?
I don't know. Something amazing, I guess.
The folks in the city, upon seeing Syndrome, seem happy to see that supers have returned.
The supers have returned! Is that ironic?
We live for great moments in sports when our favorite athletes do seemingly impossible feats. Why? Because it inspires us and gives us hope that maybe we can be more than who we are right now. In a system that wants everyone to fit in, where so many of us lose the willpower to be heroic and follow our dreams, it's a miracle to watch someone in touch with their own superpowers and wielding them for good. Elastigirl is a mess after she finds out Bob's been lying to her, but Edna quite literally slaps some sense into her, saying,
You are Elastigirl! My God, pull yourself together! What will you do? Is this a question?
She then flies a freaking jet to Syndrome's island, saves her kids from certain death, and rescues her husband from captivity single-handedly. Elastigirl was all too content to fit in and forget who she used to be, but when her husband needed her, she was the one to step up and save him. Without her, Mr. Incredible likely dies in captivity. Elastigirl is the necessary yang to Mr. Incredible's yin. Although it's important to wield our superpowers, we can't do so with omnipotence. Ironically, Mirage tells Mr. Incredible that her boss is drawn to power, to which Bob says,
Seems a bit unstable.
It is. Unlimited power is unstable. We do have to be flexible in how we wield our powers as well, and we have to take others into consideration as we do so. Mirage and Syndrome have an interesting conversation about this near the end of the film.
He's not weak, you know. Valuing life is not weakness. And disregarding it is not strength.
I actually think Syndrome is what Mr. Incredible could be if he decided to just wield his omnipotent power without constraint. The difference between these two characters is highlighted when Mr. Incredible has Mirage in his arms and says he could snap her like a toothpick. Syndrome, who has no boundaries, says, "Show me." It's chilling, but we have to remember that this whole version of Syndrome might have never seen the light of day if Mr. Incredible encouraged the development of Buddy's superpower rather than squash it. But he doesn't, and Buddy goes on to become Syndrome, a far more radicalized character than he should have been. To me, The Incredibles makes very important points about the jubilation of finding our superpower, how much it benefits the world when we do so, and how we as a society must encourage each person to find their superpower, or else. What did you take away from The Incredibles? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to get the written version of my videos a few days before they go live, subscribe to Filmalysis on Substack. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and consider subscribing if you want more film breakdowns like this one.